Hi guys, welcome. It is Juliet here, and today we are going to learn how to make this cute little daisy, could be a pendant or earring, and this has a really cool bezel that's super easy, so you're going to love that. I did use the materials out of the Sugar Rush Beads collection Lite, just because I had them sitting around, and so I kind of figured this bezel out the other day, and I was like, I need to make something with this bezel because it's really cool. So it does use an 8mm Chaton, and you can see that is the sunflower one that came in the collection in the middle there, and it also uses some MiniDuos, but the magical part of it is these 8/0 triangle seed beads. These are Toho triangles. This is what they are, Toho triangle 8/0. This is the code TG08162C, transparent rainbow topaz, okay? That is kind of the magic behind the bezel, and you'll notice if you look at the earring sideways, it's very slim. It has a nice flat line to it, okay? Which is kind of what I like about this bezel. I think it's really cool. So once I did the bezel, I just turned it into a little daisy. Thought it was kind of cute and summery, so I'll show you how to do that as well. But I really kind of wanted to show you the bezel more than anything else here, okay? Okay, so you will need the 8/0 triangles that I just showed you. You will need 7 MiniDuos. Okay, these are MiniDuos, not super duos, okay? You will need an 8mm Chaton, as I said. These are point back Chatons. Most of you know what those are, and I will put links for everything down below as well. And then in the way of seed beads, I'm using an 8/0, I'm using an 11/0 white and some 15/0 white, okay? And then we are also using some Miyuki Bugle beads as well. So these are the 6mm bugles. So 8, 11, 15, and 6mm bugles you will need, okay? So I'm using the white seed beads and the green 8/0s out of our mix. I'm using a size 10 beading needle. I would recommend a 6-pound Fireline for this, just to help the leaves or the petals of the flower be a little bit more sturdy. I am actually using KO because as I've said in previous videos, my house is kind of packed up for moving, so I only left out my nylon threads because they're smaller than the Fireline, so I'm using that. So the thread doesn't matter that much, but I would say a Fireline would probably be a little bit more sturdy, okay? Alrighty, so to begin, you're going to pick up a triangle bead and then a 15/0, okay? And you're going to do that 7 times, so alternating triangle 15/0, triangle 15/0 until you have 7 triangles and 7 15/0s. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I need to end with a 15/0 because I started with a triangle. So make sure you start with a triangle, you end with a 15/0, okay? You're gonna push all of it down. And I'm using about 3 feet of thread here, okay? And then you're gonna sew through all of those beads again to form a circle. Okay, so once you have formed a circle, we're not going to tie a knot, you're just going to pass through the first triangle one more time, okay? Okay, so we have this. We're exiting from a triangle. you're going to pick up a triangle and you're going to go through the same triangle again, plus the next 15-0 and the next triangle. And what you want is you want the new triangle that you just added to sit flat up against another triangle. So they're going to sit kind of side by side like this, like flat up against each other. And make sure you kind of pull it in tight so that they stay together. Okay, we want them to sit next to each other, kind of like that. Okay, so they're kind of stacked on top of each other. Okay, we're going to do that all the way around. So again, you're going to pick up another triangle. You're going to go through the same triangle that you're coming out from, plus the next 15-0 and the next triangle. And then just make sure when you pull tight that you get the two triangles sitting flat up against each other like that, okay? And you're just going to do that all the way around, adding a triangle, pulling tight, and then doing the next one. So make sure you pass through the 15-0 and the next triangle each time you add one on, okay? And they should automatically want to sit up against each other. Like, I find I don't really have to do that much to get them to do that. Like, they just want to do it, okay? All right, so let me add the other 4 really quickly. Okay, and when you're adding your last triangle on, make sure that you do still move forward through that one, the 15-0, and the next triangle, just to finish that round off, okay? Okay, so we now have something that looks like this, and these can kind of rotate up and down as they want to, okay? So go ahead and step up into the outer triangle. So we're now going this way around, okay? And you're going to pick up a MiniDuo and you're going to go into the next outside triangle. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way around, adding a MiniDuo in between each outside triangle. Okay, and when you're adding your last one on, you can step into that first MiniDuo that we added in this round as well. Okay, and you're going to want to kind of push, when you pull, you're going to want to kind of push the middle downward and these will kind of come upwards. Okay, so see how they're kind of going a little bit upwards and the middle's kind of sunken in now, okay? And that is where our Chaton is going to sit right there in that middle section, okay? But not yet. Okay, so I like to actually move forward through the next triangle and the next MiniDuo as well. I just find that it does help a little bit with the tension here, okay? So maybe move forward one more just to make sure everything's in place. And then you're going to go through the outer hole of the MiniDuo, okay? You're going to pick up one 11-0 and you're going to go into the outer hole of the next over MiniDuo, okay? So when we turned into the outer hole, we're now going back in the other direction again, okay? And just, you can kind of leave it a little bit loose for now. What will happen is we're going to pull this upwards, but we need to put our Chaton in before we do that. So you can kind of start to pull it upwards, but just don't pull it like tight yet. But you can certainly get it to where it starts cupping upwards more, okay? Okay, and again, when I get back to the first MiniDuo, I also run through the next 11-0 and the next MiniDuo just to kind of completely close off that round a little bit better, okay? Okay, so this is where you're going to want to put your Chaton in the middle of those 8 O's, okay? And then you're just gonna pull upwards and pull everything inwards, and what will happen is your MiniDuos and your 8 O's will close up around your Chaton. Okay, so the Chaton should be held in by the triangles on the back, okay? And on the front, it's held in by the MiniDuos and by the 11 O's, okay? So I like to just run around the inside here one more time just to make sure that that all stays in place. Okay, and once you have reinforced the inside, be careful not to squish this because it will kind of kick your Chaton out. You have to kind of hold it quite gently, I found. And then what you can do with your tail here is you can just run around a few times and then tie it off, okay? But we are going to, so if you look on the side here, you'll see that you can actually see kind of the thread where we're going into the other triangle and things. So I'm going to tidy that up really quickly, is the first thing that we're going to do, okay? So coming out from the inner hole of the MiniDuo, once you've reinforced, jump into the outer hole of the MiniDuo and into the kind of outside triangle bead. So just jump into the outer hole, the MiniDuo, and then through the triangle, and then we're going to just kind of cover up some of that thread that we can see, okay? So just pick up an 8/0 and just go into the next top triangle. So the bottom ones are down here. We're not going into those. We're going into like the upper triangles, okay? So just pop an 8/0 right in there, and that will just help to cover up some of that uglier thread, that area that we can see there, okay? So I'm just going from triangle to triangle around the outside edge. Okay, so we now have this. We're coming out from the top triangle here, okay? Go ahead and go into the 8/0 down below that we just added on in this round, last round, okay? So we're exiting from the 8/0. You're going to pick up a bugle bead, 3 11/0 beads, and another bugle bead. Okay, so those are 11 O's. So bugle, 3 11/0s, and a bugle, and you're going to go straight into the next 8/0. Okay, and this is just going to hang out. It's going to look a little bit weird right now. That's totally normal, okay? Okay, and again, picking up a bugle, 3 11s, and a bugle, straight into the next 8/0. And you're going to do that 7 times all the way around. Okay, I'm adding my last set on and going through that first 8/0. And again, if you were using Fireline, your petals will probably kind of behave a little bit better than mine are, but at the moment they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing, so they're just kind of like, woo, okay. All right, so go ahead and step up into the next outside triangle right there, okay, and then into the outside of the lower hole of the MiniDuo. So the upper hole is up here where our 11 O's are, we're going into the lower hole, okay? From the lower hole here, we're going to pick up a bugle and an 11, okay? And looking at the petal, like right next petal over, okay, where you're coming out, you're gonna go through that first 11 O of the 3 at the end, okay? You're going to pick up 3 15 O's, okay? So these are 15 O's, and you're gonna go into the last seed bead, like after the middle seed bead at the end, okay? Then again, you're going to pick up an 11 and another bugle. You're going to go into the outer hole of the next mini duo, okay? And when you pull that, it's going to kind of create, this is going to hold our petal kind of in a better position here, okay? So we've kind of created a little end on it, and we're now supporting it because it's like double layered, okay? So this is going to make them more firm, okay? They won't be, what I did is I went around again and reinforced this top layer, and that really helped to firm it up. So that's what you're going to want to do at the end, okay? But for now, we're going to pick up another bugle. I can get in it, there we go, and another 11. You're going to go into the next 11 and then pick up 3 15 O's and skip over the next 11, go into the third one here at the end, okay? And then you're going to pick up an 11 and another bugle, and you're going to go through the next mini duo. Okay, and you see how now that petal kind of like popped up, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. Now I know what I'm supposed to be doing here. If you reinforce, that will help as well. Okay, so you're going to continue doing that all the way around, adding bugle 11 into the first 11 O that's at the end, picking up your 3 15s. Into that second one, or third one I should say, and again picking up an 11-0 and then a bugle, okay, and going into the next mini duo. Okay, so I will continue doing this all the way around. And then what I suggest is you reinforce that round, okay? So just follow this thread path that we're just doing now. So you're going to go through here, up, over the top, down, okay? Reinforce, and then I will show you how I connected on my, I used a wire guard at the top here. You don't have to, you can make a loop of beads if you want to, but that's how I did it. So I'll come back just to show you how I did that once I get the rest of my petals finished, okay? Okay, I'm actually running out of thread. I haven't reinforced this side, and I have reinforced this side so you can kind of see the difference here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to do the wire guardian before I run out of thread, then I'll add some more thread and finish my reinforcing off camera. So go up until you exit from the first 15-0 on the end of your petal, so that you should have 3 15-0s at the end here, okay, like this. And you're going to pick up your wire guard and push it down. You're going to go into the second side of your wire guard here, okay? And then you're going to go back through that middle 15-0 at the top of your flower, okay? You're going to go back up the first side of your wire guard. the second side and then continue on around the rest of your petal. Okay, so I usually can't get through more than twice, so that is all that I would do. If you think you can get through, or you want to switch to a thinner needle and go around again, you're more than welcome to do so. But that's all I did to connect on my wire guard. Okay, all right, I'm gonna see if I can finish reinforcing this, and then I will tie off my thread, and I'll come back and I will show you the final pair of earrings. Okay, I managed to finish my earrings, and what I did one more additional round of reinforcing, and I just went down the bugle and straight up the next bugle without going into the MiniDuo, and that really helped to kind of stop the bugles from twisting so much. So this one now is really strong. This one, I didn't do that last layer. I'm going to go back in and do it, but this one you can see I can kind of move it a bit more. This one is like really quite stiff. So I would recommend on your final round of reinforcing that you just skip that MiniDuo, just go straight up and over just the outer bugles, okay? But anyway, I think these are so cute and summery. Just really love the way they came out, and they're really quick. They're, you know, aside from all the reinforcing, but honestly, they are quick, and I love how flat they are, how kind of smooth line they are. So anyway, I hope you give these a try. Okay guys, I will see you very soon for another video. Take care for now. Bye.